Yes, he knows we're on to him. He's just driving around in circles at 25 miles an hour.
It's Kyle who's meant to feel Harris, not us.
You could nail him for wasting petrol on a non-essential journey.
Don't be facetious, McCrae. I do have other concerns apart from Kyle.
I understood Kyle was rather important, having undone our last Home Secretary.
Dan Miller's head rolled, Miss Blake, because he took bad advice, overreacted, played into the hands of the Prime Minister, who was already tired of him.
Awful warning.
I mean, you don't put resourceful dissidents of Kyle's ilk into a ghetto. You send them away for treatment.
These pieces in Le Monde and Die Welt have left their mark.
As we still don't know, not for sure that he wrote those. Admittedly, he does have the time. His own paper spikes most of his stuff. What concerns me is that our new Home Secretary revels in that damaging propaganda abroad. Revels. And by implication, threatens.
Kyle can be persuaded to see things differently.
Miss Blake, how long is it since you and Kyle were... I mean, how well do you know him these days?
I'd say he was open to conversion.
You can't convert a fox.
Face to face at last.
Yes. Whom trouble, Kyle?
Well, I've been showing them around London. I think they're probably sick of the sight of Regent's Park by now.
Where are they now?
Well, they're behind us, outside.
Oh, jolly. What about the Public Control Department's plans to see the general election doesn't happen when it should under our trampled constitution? You know, this thing puts me in mind of the PCD sometimes, Kyle. I wonder why. Note on page 2. An engrossing plot to vet and for persuade, read intimidate returning officers. And on page 4, a typical notion to step up the PCD surveillance of sensitive areas where MPs are still considered unreliable.
And they're really wetting themselves at the idea of a general election, aren't they?
Well, they're far from ready for one. Oh, another thing. How well do you know Evelyn Blake?
Blake. Lynn Blake?
The same, I should think. Ex-Department of Health. Ex. She's been confirmed in the Deputy Controller post vacated by Miss Lomas.
Lynn Blake, are you sure?
It's an Assistant Under Secretary of State post. Obviously, she'll be in the running.
Lynn Blake?
Yes. And she's got a mind of her own, too, from what I hear. Now, burn at the earliest, Kyle, and scatter the ashes with care. Otherwise, they'll soon be scattering mine. Where should I drop you?
Well, as near to the House of Commons as you think safe.
Nowhere safe now, unless you're in your box.
What we're dealing with is a government that has no intention of holding an election when its term is up in 3 months' time. There will be no election then. Not this year, not next year, not twice.
Well, at least some of you MPs know what you're doing.
The PCD say these monitors are for our own security. They're really there to show the PCD who's coming to see us. Please come in.
Hello.
Thought you weren't coming.
What have I missed? Except Erzat's coffee.
And Thompson was saying this is the best safe house for dissidents in the whole country.
Yeah. That's nice of them to make the Palace of Westminster the only place where more than 5 can gather together for political purposes, isn't it?
As long as your anti-bugging device is on.
Shh. Device says.
We're all into what we can do to ensure that there is a general election.
There isn't going to be a general election. The PCD will see to that.
We accept that?
No, we stay cool.
Stay cool. In a heat wave.
We know about your father, Andy. We sympathise.
Sympathy. Sympathy's a dab of disinfectant on a cancer. I didn't join Pentagon just to talk.
We are one group in thousands. We're growing. Soon there'll be tens of thousands, but at the moment we are only one group of 5. Now, when all the other groups of 5 are ready and strong, then we can do something. One day.
One day. Words!
Words have won more battles than bullets, Andy.
Oh, we're all wind and no punch. We are being laid by one of the most vicious regimes this country's known in centuries. Civil servants, snoopers and sadists. Yes, well, there's a two-way traffic in terror.
No violence.
They are using it on us!
No violence.
Right, let's see him then. Right honourable member for South Lambeth. Nervous chap, must be suffering from a rush of Dutch courage.
Guilt, perhaps?
Over his supine conduct as an MP in this Parliament of Sheep.
I met him once at a party.
Next. Our train driver friend with ideas above his station, who believes his union has been stuck into the corporate state. An angry prole, easy to handle. Next. Our lately unpublished hack.
He is read abroad, at least according to our files. New York Times.
Not under his own name, or even in his own style. Must bruise his vanity to be anonymous and rewritten. Next. Yes, Mr. Green, our devious returning officer. Who would buy election figures from such a man?
I saw on file he was coming to his senses.
Saying that he was. Next. Yes, young Mr. Thompson, who is so obsessive about us, came to see us about a permit to visit his father in Centre 9.
And we caught him trying to take photos of the centre's psychiatrists, including Dr. Neal.
Right. He even tried to get one of me. Strange young man. Would want a picture of me.
Come in.
I'd like to be able to say I had trouble with the PCD, but it was only a puncture. What have I missed?
Punch up that new arrival summary as soon as you have it.
Coming now, Centre.
Stayed as one chap, mixing with the dissidents. You know him, Miss Blake.
He's probably so important to our trade figures we can't touch him.
No one's immune, Miss Blake. Group, please. What can he be doing with those stirrers?
Go between them and our enemies abroad.
Possible.
Perhaps he runs Kyle's seditious copy to the foreign press.
Kyle dishes out his poison to the foreign press corps in London, direct.
Anyway, the dangerous one's Thompson.
I've been busy, Miss Blake.
Overlap. He kept trying to see me at the Department of Health about his father's condition. I referred him each time to this department, so naturally I was interested in his file here. It seems he also tried to meet McCrae, who first interrogated his father, and now he's after a meeting with the chief psychiatrist of Centre 9 who's treating his father.
Busy indeed.
Can we speak? Can we speak? Yes. Are you sure? Positive.
Look, I know I told you last week the PCD had confiscated all our prints, but you see, well, the picture library, we do keep certain negatives.
I can't hear you, Frank. Now, why don't you just sit down and speak up? There's nobody here.
Look, Kyle, I'm not with any dissident movement, you know.
Each to his own.
And I assume you only want these for the best of reasons, don't you?
Very best of reasons, Frank. Thank you.
I developed those.
Jolly good. Nobody else knows about them?
No, no. Well, and I would like the folder back if you don't mind.
These will bring tears of joy to the eyes of any self-respecting human rights jurist. Yes?
Tom Doran.
Tom Doran? Well, you're going to hide those, aren't you?
What, from Tom?
Well, I'd be much happier if you did.
What's going on? Well, not you and him, surely. Locked doors.
I was bawling him out. I wanted some pictures of returning officers. He hasn't even got a file on them.
Well, not surprised a bunch of local government yes-men. They're only town clerks,
They
chief
are being
executives.
bullied and brainwashed into becoming the ultimate agents for a rigged election, Tom.
We'll never get this in. They'll have us by the short hairs under the Activities Against the State Act. What are you trying to do to our editor? He's already incontinent. You won't get this past first base.
You should know. You are first base. You know, when Tiny Greaves was news editor, he would have raised the roof getting that story run.
Don't see what it got him. Onto the bottle and into the alcoholic's laundry. I banged my head against that brick wall so often I've got permanent concussion. Supervision of areas with MPs considered unreliable. You no more get that in than you would a story saying that the Prime Minister's a fairy. Who's this stuff for? The underground press, the Yanks? This paper does still pay your salary.
Jim!
How nice to be remembered.
Why are you standing there looking like a doorman?
Oh, they don't have doormen here, Lynn. They have guards, and they need them.
Well, you don't look like one. Come on in.
No. I have to come here occasionally for professional reasons. But there are certain places I can't stand. Abattoirs, geriatric wards, tripe factories, and this dump. Not necessarily in that order.
Oh, Jim.
Not you, Lynn. Never you. Not with this trash. Lynn Blake of the PCD. It's like finding Edith Cavell was in the Gestapo. You used to like people. Love.
Have you finished?
It's not you.
I could be recording this. Sowing disaffection among His Majesty's servants.
Well, go ahead. I suppose I shouldn't put anything past you now.
Let's walk, shall we?
Why? In God's name, why?
The PCD is a public service, Jim. It has a necessary job to do.
Necessity. Always necessity. The usual excuse is family to feed, but you don't even have that. Well, you don't, do you? I mean, you are still alone.
I have my nieces.
Who have their parents. No, it's privilege, isn't it? Privilege and power over others. It has to be. What the hell got into you?
I'm a civil servant, Jim.
You were a civil servant when we met. I used to like that lady from the Ministry of Health who held my hand while I was digging into our sagging hospital service. Remember that? Because that was years ago when we were free.
You should complain. Those pieces made your name and did nothing for my promotion.
This is promotion.
Sideways, it's a posting.
Posting? Oh, come on.
Don't play high and mighty with me, Jim. Power without responsibility is what you're into. There's no good beating your chest and ranting about freedom. This country has to be run.
Or crucified. You think you got the job because we knew each other?
You're not that important. I got the job because I was the best candidate. Don't try and make me hate you. It won't work. If you'd like to come in.
No. You go to hell.
I asked how he comes by all this.
Kyle does have the characteristics of a ferret where this department is concerned.
Then you'd better block his burrows.
It's not just us, Home Secretary. He also penetrates the Treasury and even the Cabinet Office. And I must advocate a measure of caution.
Don't you preach caution at me, Scarden. I wasn't put in here in Dan Mellor's place to perpetuate the image of tyranny this department, your department, acquired before my time, thereby causing half the nation to hold its nose and a dissident movement to take root. I know how far we can go, so just you get busy.
We have laid traps.
Has it occurred to you that the bait might be wrong? I want to know where he gets his information. And Scarden. People do things my way now, or it's O-U-T. I hear you have a new deputy controller.
Yes. You must meet her.
I already have. Shouldn't she be here?
Come through, Miss Blake, would you?
Right away, Mr. Scarden.
Did you promote her?
Beg pardon, Home Secretary?
Did you make her deputy controller?
I was on the board. She's good at her job.
And ambitious?
Mm-hmm.
You put her on the Kyle surveillance because she's a woman?
Not just because.
I'm not trying to catch you out, Scarden. Does he fancy her?
I've really no idea, Home Secretary.
Well, shouldn't you have? Only I'm told they once knew each other. Kyle is heterosexual.
You've every reason to believe so.
Some might say he's a retarded one if he hasn't already slept with Miss Blake.
Some might.
Would you?
Hmm?
I mean, you chose her.
Well, she does have a good degree, Home Secretary, and an excellent record of the Department of Health. Do come in.
Home Secretary.
Your friend Kyle. He's on to my plan to see that reactionary elements don't use an election to cause chaos. I insist on knowing where he got this.
There are 41 people on our top classified list. That's the lot. Unless, of course, some unauthorized secretary
We
or
must
PA
always allow for some of those.
May I finish? 41. I suggest that we plant 38 different stories about the plans of this department. Each and every one newsworthy, each and every one exclusive to one politician and official. And see which one leaks to Kyle.
Why 38?
I hardly think it's worth including the three of us, is it? Faceless has to be one of the 38.
Could still be some secretary.
I
There's no
like
reason.
her idea, Scarden. Go ahead with it and keep me in touch. I've always regretted that I never went to university and got a good degree.
Compliments on your timing.
Anything to help out, I could see you were suffering.
Only this morning, when I asked you to suggest ways of trapping Kyle, you were less forthcoming.
I was less pressured.
We're properly pressured tonight. I want those 38 newsworthy and exclusive fabrications on my desk first thing in the morning. Shall we say 8 a.m.?
Classified. Title. Deaths among Dartmoor prisoners on special punitive diets. Begins. 4 prisoners serving long sentences for black market food offences have died since the diet was brought in 5 weeks ago. Make that 6 weeks. New paragraph. The 4 men were in their late 20s and early 30s. They were, and now we name 4 prisoners. Come in, James.
It's locked.
Not now, it's not.
Well,
Welcome.
it's easy to see which side of the fence you fell on.
I've a nice Irish whiskey, if that's still your favourite.
Well, the memory's stayed. Whitehall certainly knows how to look after its own, doesn't it? Functionaries of the world unite. Unless, of course, there's been some Richard Myers.
None rich. Water or soda?
Oh, dear, you have forgotten. I haven't changed in 10 years.
No? 10 years ago, you would never have spent all your time sniping at the government and the PCD.
10 years ago, there was no such thing as the PCD. 10 years ago, we were all free. Ah, well, more or less.
10 years ago, you were a friend who cared. 1 in a million.
I should have known when I was onto a good thing, shouldn't I?
Cheers.
Why the hell did we stop seeing each other?
We didn't. You stopped seeing me. No explanation, just end of book. Anyhow, you'd have stopped after today. Now I'm with the PCD.
Oh, I don't know. You could prove useful. Depends how much you like the good life. I say, that really is a super piece.
Bond Street.
Ah.
Were you followed?
Naturally. Why should I bother to shake off your department's leeches? After all, I'm on the way to see one of their own deputy controllers.
I just wondered.
You know, as safe pads go... Look, do you mind if I sit down? As safe pads go, this must be one of the safest in London. Debugged and good Irish whiskey.
How's Faceless? Your main contact in our department.
Oh, dear. Has Garden been having bad dreams again?
No, it's you who'll be having the bad dreams. Faceless is about to be blown.
You've been on the bottle, Lynn?
No. I've been on the files. He's in line for 30 years at one of our rehabilitation centers. And so, which is what hurts, are you. Give me his name and I'll...
You know, this is super Irish. If it weren't quite so super, I should down it in one go and go.
I'll see to it that nothing happens...
It's not only super, it's super, super. Wow. No, no, please, don't give me another. I'd only want to tear your super clothes off.
That's more like you. Jim. I'm to smoke out Faceless, not to detain him or you. That's Scarden's job.
Your union laying down demarcation lines, is it? And how many birds with one stone will that be?
What have you got to lose? All those tip-offs from Faceless, and all you're getting in your paper is our handouts. That can be doing your ego no more good than it's doing your image. Yesterday's big story, man.
Down and out in Fleet Street.
Jim, we know you're getting anti-government stories in the underground sheet and foreign press. I'm concerned about you, Jim.
Are you really? Or have you just heard nasty rumours of the human rights tribunals to come? Well, don't you worry, Lynn. You're not terribly guilty. Yet. And I shouldn't be at all surprised if I didn't stand up in your defence.
There's still time for you to get out before we come for you. You and Faceless.
Would you come and visit me in exile?
If you wanted me to.
Be a long way.
As long as the sun shines there.
You're a clever girl. And you'll have me believing you next.
James, call me when you've thought it over, but don't leave it too long.
Night, Lynn.
I've seen most of the world. Nowhere did I feel more at home than in your country. I like the feeling of one for all, and black and white and coffee-coloured all getting on. And the climate, of course.
Be our guest any time, Herbert.
If it wasn't too much trouble, Manuel. I might want to take a holiday there at extremely short notice. In fact, I love it so much, I might want to retire there. Of course, I love it here, too. I must make that perfectly plain.
It is possible to love more than one country. I love it here. If only I could take this club back with me.
Not on, I'm afraid. It may be the leaders' club in practice, but of the more sentimental among us, it's still the dear old House of Lords. Home Secretary. May I introduce Senor Perez, First Secretary of the Cuban Embassy, our Home Secretary.
I'm honored.
I'm surprised we didn't meet when I was at the Department of Trade.
Oh, but we did. My ambassador is larger than life.
If Mr. Scarden's been trying to sell you some of his public control techniques, don't you fall for them. I think yours are probably more efficient.
We are always ready to learn.
Home Secretary, I was picking my guest's brains about the art of growing this quality of tobacco.
In Ruislip, Mr. Scarden.
Pinner's where I live, Home Secretary.
Actually, we're discussing Cuba's appeal as a tourist resort.
Oh, I hear you're being deluged. Well, perhaps that's an exaggeration, by certain members of the ruling party for entry visas.
It is true our tourist business is growing.
I meant those who wanted to stay longer.
Our friends will always be welcome, Home Secretary.
I was only joking, Herbert. You could pass as a cigar planter.
She is very strong.
Strange lady. Are they really queuing for visas, as she says?
89,200 and a total. Oh, figures. Who'll be an auditor?
I can never understand my monthly deduction from salary.
I was having a look at... do sit down, please. I'm running the quarterly figures for some of your provincial sections. There seems to be a growth of 10% and more over the previous 3 months. I was wondering...
Does seem rather high.
Not rather high, unacceptably high, way over budget.
You picked the worst cases.
It's a random sample, I assure you. I've had Birmingham through, of course. I mean, they got us a nasty meagre in the last quarter. But Norwich, Preston, Aberdeen, Swansea.
Swansea? Well, there was the new identity card centre.
Durham.
We had the staffing of the enlarged adult rehabilitation centre.
Carlisle up 14%.
Probably security printing. We changed the ration books. Well, I shall need time to do an analysis.
Don't dally, Scarden, if you don't mind. I wasn't put in here to audit the accounts of the Public Control Department as an exercise in social history. My task is to prevent abuses on behalf of His Majesty's Treasury. And that's just to date, Scarden. I needn't remind you that I do have power to call for persons and papers, however high and mighty the persons, however classified the papers.
Yes, indeed. I'm not procrastinating.
Thank you. Good day. Oh, and Scarden, these Dartmoor deaths.
What?
These black marketeers dying from food poisoning.
That hasn't quite been established.
I rephrase, these Dartmoor prisoners whose diet didn't suit them.
Yes?
We may have to add to the public relations budget should this story get out.
Any reason why it should?
It wouldn't be the first official secret to leak in recent times, would it?
Oh, God. Come on. Come on, concentrate, for God's sake. Great.
Poor devils at Dartmoor appear to have copped it. Black marketeers, but still people. Natural causes. Homicide by the state, more like.
Who cares about black marketeers of food?
They're still people.
Only just.
Since when has black marketeering been a capital offence?
Well, some people think it should be. You check this?
With whom do I check it?
The prison authority, the men's family.
The authority is the PCD. They'd only clam up. And there is no way of finding out the addresses of the men's families.
Well, it could be a load of nothing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it is a load of nothing as long as you're sure of your source.
He has been accurate every time during the past 2 years. He hasn't changed, Tom. You have.
Ah. Last time you asked me what I was using for a backbone these days.
You didn't answer, if I remember.
Well, I'm fed up with you wasting your time and what's worse, mine. We'll never get this in.
Our editor grovels to the PCD, and when he sweats, you start to shiver. Why don't you both join the state-run rag, the pair of you? Have done with it.
Don't push me too far, Cup.
Oh, no, Tom, no. You are a man of property, aren't you? You've got a wife and 4 kids, you've got a mortgage through a building society now grabbed by the state, and that mortgage is a gallows.
What did you pay yours off with? Backhanders from the foreign press?
You make me sick. Any blasted excuse. Why don't you wear a white shirt, Tom? You can always use it as a bloody flag. Homicide, except by the state, is still a crime. We do seem to have a witness.
Identity card, sir. Gun license, please.
It's the civil service rifle club membership card.
Never knew they let you use telescopic sights for club shooting, sir.
Oh, well, I'm interested in open range competitions.
I have to check your ID card and gun license with the PCD, of course.
Yes.
Hello, Charlie Foxtrot. Link up with the PCD requested. Would you mind waiting a moment, sir?
No, I think I'll go.
Hey, you! Stop!
Your own paper won't touch it. And my advice is don't use it on the underground sheet or the foreign press.
Your hospitality really is too much. 2 nights out of 3. Your goons out there will begin to think we have got it together.
That's funny. Oh, don't make me change my mind. I couldn't sleep last night. Letting down my department doesn't come easy to me, even if it is to save your skin. Can you get out of the country tomorrow?
I'd never get an exit visa. Besides, both you and Scarden need me as a scarecrow. I am not leaving the country until the PCD is buried.
They'll bury you if you stay. And I don't want our mind-benders to get at you.
Neither do I.
You helped get rid of one Home Secretary. Don't think you can repeat the trick. This one is a woman, and no lady. She doesn't know about this. Neither does Scarden. If they did, you'd be inside now. That Dartmoor story is your ticket to hell for you and your contact.
I like the grey.
The moment they set eyes on that, in the press, foreign or underground, they'll know who Faceless is.
Really? It's very pretty.
Maybe you don't know him by name.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Age 52, round face, wears glasses, dark hair, precise, 32 years in the service, Treasury auditor attached to the PCD. Drives a small Citroen with smoked windows. Name, Maudsley. Off to warn him.
How can I warn someone I don't know?
Then leave the country.
No.
Run this anywhere and you and Faceless are finished. Believe me. We'll bring those 4 men out looking so well fed. We'll have gourmets lining up to dine at Dartmoor. Please get out, Jim.
No.
Has anyone else seen this story?
My secretary, Tom Doran, the news editor, and the editor possibly, though I shouldn't think so. And, of course, your spy.
Good thing it was delivered to me.
Why? Why should you care about Faceless? Or are you simply trying to rob Herbert Scarden of some tiny triumph?
Any credit in this case would go to me. It was my idea.
You're a bright girl. Why?
I'm pushing for more curbs in our interrogation techniques, and I'm nowhere near winning yet. And now I've met your friend, Maudsley. Until you do get out, we might storm with a bit of another story. Election stuff. Watermarked voting papers.
Go on.
It's Scarden's baby. He floated it in plenary committee today. And Faceless isn't on that committee.
You want me to write a story about traceable voting papers. You want me to write it. pull the other one.
Suit yourself. And then there's Thompson, Andrew Thompson.
20 million watermarks, they'd never do it.
One of your Pentagon group.
No, the computer couldn't cope with that lot.
He was seen today in the country, practicing with a telescopic rifle. Is he all there?
Oh, God. Is he under arrest?
No. But he will be when they find him. And then it's only a matter of time before the computer coughs up your association with him. I know the monster does get hiccups when it can't add 2 and 2 or even 1 and 1.
Why? Why are you trying to help me, Lynn? Or are you taking out insurance for yourself?
No. For you.
Is Andy Thompson there, please?
All right.
I see. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'll try that. Thank you. So where do we try after this lot?
His chess club.
Chess club. But he doesn't even play the damn game. Every call tapped. Even if we do find him, you've got to get a move on.
I'm trying to contact...
Later!
Andrew Thompson, please. Could you possibly see if he...
I know you don't get much in the paper these days, Kyle, but arson's a bit serious. I want every scrap of paper out of this room. Chief Inspector McCrae, PCD. Haven't we met?
Only by association. I was there when your lot ripped up his floorboards, turned his home into a jumble sale.
No hard feelings, unless it was you who slashed our tires.
If it shuts, Fred, leave it. Well, he tried his home, his parents' home, his sister's place, his friends' places.
And given the PCD goons an all-night run for their money.
Shouldn't worry about them. They're on overtime. If he uses that gun, we've all had it. And what they do to him will make what they did to his father look like a game of netball.
Who is he after? Psychiatrist at the centre who made a turnip of his dad?
Scarden.
Department of Public Control.
I want to speak to the controller, please. It's urgent.
I'm sorry?
Can I speak to Mr. Scarden, please, quickly?
Might it not be better let nature take its course? What are you going to tell him?
To keep his head down.
Can't think why.
Shut up, Dave, shut up.
The secretary isn't answering.
I didn't ask for his secretary, darling.
Mr. Scarden's office?
I want to speak to Mr. Scarden, please.
Mr. Scarden's just left. I'm sorry.
Well, where can I get hold of him?
I'm sorry, I can't...
Put me through the security guards, please.
Take cover. Get down. Watch out.
I've done it!
I've just had a social call from a Cray at the PCD. Listening.
Yes.
He's retaining a files and orange peel today.
I hope you remembered to thank him.
He asked me if I'd seen a story you wrote yesterday.
Naturally, you said yes.
I said no.
Thanks.
I saw no story.
I believe you.
Not about Dartmoor prisoners or anybody. And I also said that your secretary couldn't have either as it was her day off.
Not quite dead yet, are you, Tom?
The Cray said that somebody called Thompson took a potted Scarden this morning. It wasn't just mud he was throwing.
And Scarden?
You are responsible for the safety of the PCD personnel, and that includes me.
Sir, I initiated your move to this office on the more secure side of the building. As for Thompson, he's hiding in the woodwork somewhere. We've got full surveillance on his home, his relatives' houses, his clubs.
His clubs?
He belongs to the Civil Service chess and rifle clubs.
Should have confined him to his queens and bishops.
Oh, and Kyle must be onto the story. He's been trying to contact Thompson all over the place.
And all you can do is collect Kyle's orange peel? Just get out!
Sir?
Thank you, Miss Blake.
Hey! We thought you'd show up here in the end. Well, a right cock-up you've made, haven't you?
Is he dead?
He's alive and well and running the PCD. All you hit was his official bottle of Burgundy. He got nicked by flying glass, and he bumped his head on the ground.
I needed more practice.
We said no shooting.
You haven't seen my father!
Keep this up and you'll have us all nabbed.
You're going out.
Out of the country. I'm not leaving my family!
Now get inside. I want you on the high seas by tonight. Come on.
Look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here to fight it out!
Are going.
And just who do you think you are telling me what to do?
You're a menace. You know that? Not just to yourself. I don't give a sniff about you or your mission. I'm thinking about us, and I'm not having you play the martyr at our expense.
I was just trying to avenge my father.
I wouldn't allow you out of the house with a water pistol. Now you're going out, either peaceably or otherwise.
All right, I'll go. But I'll have plenty to say when I'm out of the country. And not just about the PCD!
Dave, will you get him out of my sight? I think homicide might be catching.
Suppose he does shop us.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
Only Lynn Blake knows about me.
Only?
And she's, beholden to you.
More to the PCD. You know women.
Not very well, no.
I say again, you get out tonight.
I do have 2 cats and a Dalmatian.
So we'll fix you up with Noah's Ark.
That's extraordinarily insensitive of you, Kyle. And we still have a lot to do here in Britain. And it does seem to me that if this Blake woman doesn't disclose what she knows, she's in it as deep as we are. Does that make sense?
No, not much. If they get hold of you, they'll reduce you to a marrow.
Cabbage is the usual comparison.
You can't expect me to just stand by and watch some official mind-bender unhinge you.
I'd take a pill first. Though I don't know what would happen to Spotty and the cat.
Look. You go out tonight. The pets can follow later.
Pray not, Kyle. I'll stay. And read the election they aim to do away with. They're thinking of watermarked ballot papers to detect dissidents.
Whatever next.
Whatever next.
You want to see how your tips become icebergs upon which our prison ship of state will founder?
Now, I quite like that turn of phrase. Thank you. Let's take them to my usual place in the country and read them in peace, eh?
That is not a bad idea. Feel like some fresh air.